So how do you incorporate Bootstrap? There are three different ways. I mean, there's probably more than that, but there are three primary ways that I would typically tell you that you could do. One is you can download Bootstrap from their webpage. So where is it? You go to here, and then you can install it. You can download it anyway, and then you can just host it on your own website. And so basically, you would put the elements into your CSS and into your JavaScript folders, and then you would just connect, and you would just put it in the same folder basically as your web page. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is a CDN, which stands for Content Delivery Network, and we'll be using a couple of these. But basically, what it is that you just you link to their website instead of hosting it yourself, and then you'll just get the code from there. So instead of it being like an absolute URL, or I'm sorry, a relative URL, when you connect it, it'll say like script source, and then you can see it'll be like a URL that's online. So basically, it's just going to go to their website and get the code directly from them. There's a couple advantages of this. One is that it'll be updated regularly, because obviously they're going to keep making updates, which is also good for security purposes. So if there's some sort of security flaw or something, they will obviously fix it once they find out about it. It will also stay trendy. It will, you know what I mean, whatever the current standards are and stuff. They'll just keep updating their code, and then since you're just linking to their code, yours will just keep updating along with it. And then probably even more so than those, to be honest, is that the users will probably already have the files cached. So what that means is when you go to my website for the first time, you have to download all of the extra CSS and JavaScript and all the stuff that's incorporated with this, at least to each page. But when you go from one page to another page, you don't have to download it again. You already have it in your computer, so your computer remembers it, it stores it, and then when I go to the subsequent pages, it doesn't have to download that again. It's the same idea when I was talking about, like, if you're always connecting to the same CSS, it doesn't have to download that CSS sheet every time. It already has it. So more than likely, because this is so popular, when a user goes onto your website, they had probably already been to another website that used Bootstrap, which means they don't have to download it again. The computer will be like, oh, we already have that, and it'll actually make your site faster. So that's a preferred way of doing it. So we're going to use a CDN just because obviously you have to be connected to the internet for it to work, but also it's a web page, which is on the internet. So yeah, so we're just going to use a CDN. It just makes the most sense. The last option is to use Dreamweaver, Adobe Dreamweaver, which you may or may not be familiar with. It's part of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite. I'm not teaching you guys the Dreamweaver. I used to do it way back when, but to be frank, they haven't updated the program that much, and I don't want you guys to have to pay for an Adobe subscription. So the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, I don't know what it is for students, like $50 a month or $70. I don't know what it is now, but it's expensive. And to be frank, you can just do it by hand in the text editor. So Adobe Dreamweaver basically is a text editor like Visual Studio Code, or any other ones, you Sublime Text. It's a coding text editor, but it's specifically made for web. And it has a bunch of tools. It allows you to work WYSIWYG, which just means what you see is what you get. So you can actually work just like you would write inside of Word. You just type things out and make things headings and blah, blah, blah. You can just do it like that, and it will actually write the code for you on the side. But to be frank, that's actually kind of a dirty way of doing it, because it's not gonna write it in an efficient way, right? It's not gonna be optimized, because it's just trying to make what you're making work. So you don't want to do it that way anyway. There are some other things that are nice where it'll auto create some stuff for you, but it's not worth paying the, however, like a couple $100 or whatever it's going to cost you to get through. So, but just beware, if you do have Adobe Creative Cloud, and you want to use Dreamweaver, it is superior, I would say, to Visual Studio Code, just because it's specifically made for that. So that's another way. They have tools that allow you to implement them. Yeah.